quite strangely, we don't see this very often. The men's top seed, the world number one, the man who's like the man of the year, winning everything. It's opening up on Chatrier. He will be on at 11 a.m. and that's before the vast majority of the crowd have actually turned up.
I think it's 12 in France,
Oh, it's
11 where you
12
are.
in
Yes.
France. Sorry, midday, but I still feel like normally not very well attended on Chatrier, but I would imagine more people will sacrifice their lunch break if they know that Jannik Sinner is opening up. But we don't see this very often, do we? I don't think we've ever really seen like Djokovic or Rafa being put on this slot. Is this a case of favourable scheduling given the heat of the day? Is Sinner trying to get out there, before it gets sort of to that mid-afternoon peak?
Well, I mean, that is a big question, Kim. I mean, we have to ask it. Joel and I said if the scheduling kind of put Sinner on for every single night match, then the question would be asked. We hadn't even entertained the concept that he would open Chatrier in like the graveyard slot at 12. It tends to be pretty empty. They have changed the rules this year so that people with tickets for other courts can actually get the upgrade and they can go into some of the lower seats. It's been working well, but still, it is kind of unprecedented. And maybe to answer your question on whether it is favoritism with numbers, in the last 25 years, there's not been a time when the men's number one seed has opened play on Chatrier. I actually can't find an incident where this has actually taken place. So this really is an anomaly. And more than that, I mean, since um, the year 2000, 95% of matches that have gone on in that first slot have been women's matches. And that's even higher for the last 5 years, where it's over 96%. So of the 55 matches that have been scheduled in the last 5 years, 53 of them have been women's matches, just two men's. So it raises eyebrows, you'd have to say, because is it a coincidence that on one of the warmest Roland-Garros is on record, someone who has struggled in the heat quite significantly is playing in a slot where, I mean, it goes against the scheduling norms. And I have to think that there has to be a request from Sinner has gone in, or it's been granted, or the tournament does have an interest in obviously Sinner surviving this sort of an encounter, given the fact we haven't got Alcaraz. So, I mean, I'm not saying yet that it is clear favoritism, but I do think this is a very unusual scheduling, and my eyebrow is raised. And we can almost raise it now, but my eyebrow's raised, Kim.
Are you doing a very Rafa-esque eyebrow there, Chris?
I am. One thing I would say actually, Kim, do you remember when Rafa was the defending champion, I think 2014, and he
Which
made,
time was he a defending champion? Oh, many
if it
times.
was 2014, it would be 2013 he was defending.
Well,
But
yes, I know,
yes,
but
I
yeah,
know. But either way, he was sent out to Susan Longlen.
it's
Um,
ridiculous, isn't it?
ridiculous for him to do that. And I think he was actually the number one seed then as well. So, I mean, that was an anomaly. I mean, this is probably kind of on the same scale as that. I mean, it still is Chatrier. But what's your take on it? I mean, the numbers say something quite strange has happened here because this is a big
Stats
budget
don't
match.
lie. Yeah,
They
no, I
don't
think
lie. But I guess on
very
the
strange.
women's side of things, the thing that doesn't sit well with me is that there's been this argument that if you can't give the women the night session because of the prime contract and the fact they want to make sure they can deliver longer matches, a minimum of three sets, there was the discussion of, well, why don't you put women on second on Chatrier? Why always give them the slot when no one turns up? It's like the hardest slot to fill the seats because people aren't there yet or they're at lunch. So now what we're saying is that the women can have the second slot, they can have prime time, but only because the number one wants to pay the cooler time. So now you've actually got an upgrade in your slot, but a downgrade in your playing conditions because now you're in the heat of the day. It doesn't really sit
Yeah,
well as a victory for scheduling. It feels like the only one who's victorious here is Jannik Sinner in men's tennis.
my only thought is that the two women's matches that are on Chatrier tomorrow are involving French players. So they've got Diane Parry against Anne Lee. That's the second match, which you'd assume would normally have been the first
Sorry,
match on
Anne
court.
Lee.
Anne Lee is on
I
Chatrier.
need a bit more excitement
Hello.
there from you. Also, I was going to
Anne
message you
Lee.
because Clara Towson, sorry, we're derailing the Sinner chat. Clara Towson and Anne Lee played doubles today. They did lose, but I
Oh,
just thought,
wasn't
it
windy enough.
wasn't windy enough. Exactly. It's very
Yeah.
hot and not enough wind for a
But
Dane.
Giacomo as well is also up against Sabalenka, third match on. So it's worked out quite well for the French crowd because they have got the two French ladies, in those peak slots. But
So that's a good
yeah,
point. So you think
normally one of them would be first
it could
on.
be a combination of the TV viewing public would like
Mm.
the French players in the prime time slot, and that actually that's why they've done it. And Sinner requested an earlier or a later
They
time.
just thought, oh, he's requested early, and we've got two French girls, perfect. And then Rinderknech is in the night session against Berrettini, so they've got
Okay, okay. So
another
maybe I
Frenchman
can
there.
drop the conspiracy theories for
Well,
now.
it could be a
I
bit of
can see a
both.
logic when it comes to
We'll
French
see.
players. They love to put them on Chatrier. So